I painted my wheels graphite and then 1 week later, black. I did a few things differently the second time around, and I'll share my experiences, so hopefully you have something to take away from it. I used 2 cans of paint, 1 can of clear, some prep spray, a spray grip, some 3 to 200 grit sandpaper, scrub pads, index cards, tape, and plastic covers or trash bags. I started by fixing my curb rash. It would probably be better if I added Bondo, but this was enough of a fix for me. Then I tried using a sanding block, but preferred to wrap sandpaper around a scrub pad instead, so that way I can get in and around the spokes a little bit better. Final sanding was done with the scrub pad by itself. Since sanding was the step that took the most energy and time, I recommend putting the wheels onto like a work table or a workbench to keep from crouching over and straining your lower back. Next, I washed it with dish soap and let it dry in the sun. Then I used prep spray for the final cleaning and degreasing. Now the prep spray worked well when I used it on the factory paint, but not so well my second time using it when I put it on the duplicolor graphite. There was a chemical reaction and it ate into the paint, so I ended up not using the prep spray on my second paint job. Paper was better than the index cards because it was thinner and molded better to the tire for when I taped it down. For the first paint job, I stood them up on the ground. I was timid when I sprayed and I had shorter bursts while moving the can pretty quickly. This misted on light coats, and the only light coat should be the first one. The result was decent, but it was gritty and rough between the spokes. I didn't really mind how they turned out, but Destiny intervened and was telling me to paint it again. For my second paint job, I saved my back by having the wheels off the ground, and I also laid the wheels down for a better spraying angle to get in between those spokes. I sprayed with longer, slower moving strokes to put it on wet. I wasn't afraid to paint closer to the surface and getting in between those spokes. I found that I had more control using my finger than with the spray grip thing. I let it dry overnight before putting them back onto the car. And here's how they turned out. I'm pretty happy with it. Really good coverage. Make sure that you always put it on wet. And look in between the spokes here. What I was focused on, it's nice and smooth, unlike my first try. There are some very small imperfections, but I'm very happy with the wheels. The only question is durability, and for that I have a little story to share. Only a few days after my first paint job, I was turning right into this Mexican restaurant, and my front passenger wheel unexpectedly hit that curb. It looks like the edge of the rim punctured the sidewall of my tire, and I had to get replaced. After mounting and balancing a new tire, here's the damage. One little nick here, and then there's like a scuff here. I thought it was bad luck, but May said it was my car telling me that it didn't like the gray.